I am so excited about today's video. This is a video unlike any I've ever done before, and I hope that it brings you a lot of great ideas for meals to make for your family. I have all brand new recipes that we've never tried before in our house, all made in the crock pot, and we're going to rate every single meal that I make as a family so that you can get a good representation of what your family is going to think about these meals as well. We had so much fun doing this, and it was such a great opportunity for me to bring new and exciting meal ideas into my family's meal plan without having to do a whole lot of extra work or effort. A lot of these recipes scored really high marks, so I hope not only do you get a lot of good ideas out of today's video, but it makes next week's meal planning super easy and enjoyable. The crowdsourcing aspect of these recipes really helped me to have some fresh new ideas, which I thoroughly enjoyed. As a homemaker, I know it's so easy for us to just get in a rut and do the same thing over and over again, which is really fine and will help us to create a good system of meal planning for our family. But sometimes you may get sick and tired of the same thing over and over again, and that's where this week's recipe plan comes in. All of these meals were completely unique and new to my family, which made it really nice and exciting to go to the grocery store, pick out new ingredients that I've never really used before, and make good, healthy, nourishing meals for my family that surprised even me several times this week. So let's get started with the recipes. I'm going to go through and tell you exactly how I made each of the meals this week in the crock pot, and then after each meal, you'll get a little snippet of my family trying it for the first time and giving their true and honest feedback about how they feel about each meal. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let's get started. Our first recipe today is going to be crock pot walking tacos. I'm going to start by browning 1 pound of ground beef in the skillet. There's just a little bit of prep work that you have to do for this recipe. Several of these recipes required a couple of steps of prep work, but nothing was difficult and nothing took a lot of extra time. After the meat is browned, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, and that is to replace 1 taco packet. I don't really like to buy pre-portioned seasoning packets like that, but if that is easier for you, just pick up a taco packet from the store whenever you're buying the rest of the groceries. But this is a super easy substitute for those pre-made taco seasonings. I'm also going to add 1 can of tomatoes and diced chilies. This is going to cook for about 5 minutes or so, just to let the tomatoes cook a little bit in the skillet before I put it in the crock pot. This recipe is going to work just a little different than the original walking taco recipe, but you don't lose any of the flavor. So to the crock pot, I'm going to add my meat mixture. I'm going to add 1 cup of prepared salsa, 1 can of black beans that I have drained and rinsed, and 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm going to mix everything together. Y'all can see that I'm trying to use my left hand to mix to try to keep my arm out of the frame, but I cannot do anything with my left hand. After I give it a good stir, I'm going to place the lid on the crock pot, put it on high, cook it for about 3 to 4 hours, and then we're ready for dinner. I'm going to just crush a couple of tortilla chips on my plate, add a scoop or 2 of the meat mixture onto the tortillas. I'm going to top these tacos with some sour cream, guacamole, and more salsa. I added a small spinach salad to the side. You can choose your side, and then you're ready to eat. So let's see what everybody thought of our first recipe. Taste test number 1. This is walking taco casserole, crock pot version. Okay, so let's see how it tastes.
It's funny. I just like it like this. I just like that.
That's real good.
I like it.
How do you like it?
Good.
Great.
Okay, so let's rate each of them. So 1 is like, never again. 10 is like, I could eat this every day. Okay, Daddy, you go first.
I'd say a 10. This is real good. I like it.
Okay, Lane, what do you think? Is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
A thumbs down. I like thumbs up.
Okay.
Did you try any
This is good.
of this part? Did you try this part?
No.
So you just tricking Mama?
No.
Okay, Sassy.
I like it. I would say maybe 8.5.
I'm gonna give it an 8. It was a little bit of prep work ahead of time. So like, it's not just a dump and go. So that, I think that is a little bit of a downside. But the flavor is really good. And it's very healthy. So I would say 8. Maybe 8.5.
I might would say 2, but kind of bad.
Our next recipe is slow cooker barbecue potato chip chicken. Now, this is a super easy dump and go crock pot recipe. So it gets high marks from me just for its ease and simplicity. These were pretty thick chicken breasts and I only needed 1.5 pounds or so. So I'm just going to cut these chicken breasts in half, lay them in the bottom of the crock pot and cover them with barbecue sauce. Gonna turn it on high and let it cook for several hours. If you cook it on high, you'll need about 3 hours. If you cook it on low, probably about 6 or 7. After the chicken is cooked through, I'm gonna crush a bag of sweet potato chili Thai chips. Now, this was a replacement for the barbecue potato chips. I didn't really love all of the options that they had, but in retrospect, what I should have done is just gotten a bag of barbecue kettle potato chips and used them instead of these sweet potato chips. It turned out okay, but let's see what everybody thinks about this recipe. Okay, let's try it. Lane, will you try just one bite? I didn't get a chip.
You look like them.
What kind of chips are they? That's
look
actually
like
really
they-
good.
Mm-hmm.
Look
Good taste to it.
them.
What kind of chips are they?
Hey, they look like them.
Sweet potato chips. Okay, well, like the recipe called for barbecue potato chips. They didn't have any like healthy options. So I went with the healthier sweet potato chips that were like chili flavored.
I like
My
it.
chips are a little bit soggy.
When I chew it, it seems dry.
I probably cooked the chicken too long.
It's
Yeah,
got a good taste.
Those.
The flavor is good.
I mean, personally, I would rather just have barbecue chicken. Sans the chips. But y'all like the chips or no?
I don't really like it in it.
I like the chips.
Chips are good.
The chips are fine. I just think
I like them.
Okay, so let's give it a rating. So you weren't here for the first testing. So 1 is like, I cannot. 10 is, I could eat this every day. Okay, Lane, did you try it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what do you say?
I find this.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Oh, good. Okay, Daddy?
Well, if a 10 is eat it every day, I would say 7.
Okay.
pull your sugar. I would say 8. I really liked it.
Okay, good.
I really like the sweet potato fries in
And
the
I would give 20.
20, all right.
I like the chicken, but the chips are kind of
So what did you give it?
maybe like 6 or 6.5.
I'm leaning to about a 6. My chips are soggy. I do not like soggy stuff that's not supposed to be soggy. So, I mean, I would just rather have barbecue chicken. But maybe it would be better if we had like kettle barbecue chips. I think it would be.
Maybe they would hold up better.
Yeah.
I just think putting them in there isn't really doing much.
Now, have you tried the fries?
No.
They're good.
Are we supposed to be ranking the fries?
No.
Aren't those good?
This next recipe is so good and you've got to try it. It is a crock pot French onion meatloaf. Super easy to put together and it was so delicious. It was very different from the normal meatloaf that I have made in the past. It's just always so nice to have a new flavor to an old recipe. I did make my own French onion soup mix. Again, don't like to buy those kinds of ingredients at the store because of some of the things that they put in there. I will leave all of these recipes, including the homemade French onion soup mix, down in the description box so you can find all of the recipes for all of the meals and ingredients that I've used in today's video down below. So no worries about having to take notes. Everything is down there ready for you. I started with 2 pounds of ground beef and I mixed all of the ingredients up. The French onion soup mix, 1 cup of breadcrumbs, 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of milk, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and mixed all of that together, put it into the crock pot, and then I'm going to slice up 1 onion. Now, the only complaint I had about this recipe was it didn't have enough onions in it. So it had plenty of onion flavor, but I really would have liked to have had a little bit more onions on top of the meatloaf. So if I ever make this again, I probably will use either 2 or 3 sliced onions. But if you're not a fan of onions, you can completely leave it out and it will be perfectly fine. I'm going to put this on high about 3 hours or so, and then check it and make sure that the internal temperature is above 160 Fahrenheit. If it is, I'm going to sprinkle 1 cup of shredded cheese on top of the meatloaf, place the lid back on the crock pot, and let the cheese melt. And then you're ready for dinner. I was really excited to try this recipe, so let's see what everybody thinks.
Okay. This is French onion, I can't remember what they called it. French onion and Swiss meatloaf, something like that.
Okay.
I like that.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's real good. Needs a little bit more salt, in my opinion. But the flavors are really good. Okay, Daddy, you want to rate it?
Yeah, give it an 8.5.
I'm going to give it a 8.5. It's not quite a 9, but it deserves better than an 8.
I would say maybe like 5.5 or 6.
Okay, not a fan, Lane?
Oh no. What if you put ketchup on it?
Lane, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Oh, good!
Yay!
Okay.
Next up, we have slow cooker honey garlic meatball subs. Now, this one was going to be really risky because I am just not a huge fan of meatballs, but I decided to put all of my preconceived notions aside and give this a try. So the first thing I needed to do was mix up the sauce for the meatballs to cook in. So I'm going to mix up 1/2 cup of honey, a 1/4 cup of ketchup, some minced garlic. I used about a tablespoon, and 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I was really afraid that the red pepper flakes was going to make this sauce super hot, but it didn't. It was not a spicy sauce at all. It just was a nice, full, flavorful sauce. I got pre-made meatballs, which was a little bit of an unusual purchase for me. I didn't buy the frozen ones, even though that's what the recipe called for, because the ingredients list was just a little longer than I was willing to buy. So I went with the refrigerated meatballs, put 2 pounds of the meatballs in the crock pot, poured all of the sauce over it. You can either cook it on low for 7 or 8 hours or on high for 3.5 to 4 hours. I made my own hoagie rolls, but you can just buy a package of hoagie rolls to make this recipe a whole lot easier. After the meatballs are completely cooked through, I'm just going to put about 4 meatballs on each sub, top them with 1 slice of provolone cheese, and then stick it in the oven under the broiler for a few minutes to allow the cheese to melt and brown a bit. Now it's time for us to taste it and see what everybody thinks.
Next up, honey garlic meatball subs.
I tell you what, it looks great.
I'm having to roll up my sleeves for this one. Okay, I normally cannot tolerate meatballs. This is actually good. I think because it's on the bread and it's not just a hunk of meat, it's better. That's what I think.
Good taste.
The flavor is really good. Okay, Lane, we're gonna start with you. What do you think?
I would give it a 10.
Oh, yeah! Okay, Sassy.
That's good. I would say maybe 8.
Okay, I'll go next. So a 10 is eat it every week, once a week.
No, every day.
Every day?
Well, once a week is enough.
Okay. I'll say a 9.
I'm not.
I'll do a 9.
don't like it.
I'm gonna say 9 too. I think this is my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
It was really easy, which is important with a crock pot meal.
Did it say to make your own meatballs?
No, it said to get frozen meatballs, but I couldn't bring myself to buy frozen meatballs. So I bought fresh meatballs and put them in the freezer, which I don't think I should have done. But it cooked through, and I think it's really good. So I would definitely have this in the regular rotation. Okay. Yay. Let's eat.
Next up, let's talk about a loaded baked potato soup in the crock pot. Now, I know that potato soup is always a little risky to put in the crock pot. A lot of times when I have done this, the potatoes have lost their texture and not done well. The dairy also will give it a little bit of trouble, but this recipe solves all of the problems with crock pot potato soup, and it is so easy, but you'll have to wait for the taste test to know exactly how good it turned out. So I'm just going to cut up about 4 or 5 pounds of potatoes. I peeled them. I normally don't peel potatoes because I like the extra nutrition in the peels, but for this recipe, I wanted to make sure and not have chunks of peels all in the soup. I put in 4 cups of chicken broth and allowed that to cook in the crock pot until all of the potatoes were fork tender. I'm going to spend a little bit of time mashing them so that there's not a ton of chunks. After the potatoes are mashed well, I'm going to add 1 block of cream cheese that I have cubed and softened, and also 1 cup of heavy cream or half and half. I'm also going to add 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm going to allow that to cook for another 30 minutes in the crock pot, and then it's ready to put together. You can choose your toppings for the soup. I cooked some bacon on the stovetop. Also, I had some shredded cheese and sour cream to make this a true loaded baked potato soup. Now, let's see what everybody thinks.
Okay, our next recipe is loaded baked potato soup.
Looks yummy. That was one.
Let's see what everybody thinks.
Okay, try some. No, I'm just going to try it a bit. This is really good.
Yeah, I like this. This is, sometimes potato soup in the crock pot is not good.
Oh, this was in the crock pot?
Yeah, this is very good. Okay, Daddy.
Okay, if a 10 was eat it every week, I could do a 10 on this.
Yes,
9.8. Wait, Lane just saying it. Okay, go ahead.
What is yours?
It's a 1.
A 1.
That means it's yucky. You eat this everything. A 10?
Yay!
Alright, way to go!
When you eat just too much of them, you eat it everything.
Yeah. Sassy?
This is my favorite. Is this the last one?
No, I think we have 2 more.
This is definitely my favorite so far. I'd probably say, probably 9.5 or maybe a 10.
Yeah, I think so. This is a definite must try. This one's really good.
Okay, next up we have a fresh twist on the original Sloppy Joe recipe. This is a slow cooker Philly cheesesteak Sloppy Joe that really surprised me. Never even thought of anything like this, so that is what's really good about these kinds of viral recipes. You can find such unique ideas for your family's meals, and it just really brings new, fresh flavors to the table without having to reinvent your own recipe. For this recipe, I'm going to brown 2 pounds of ground beef in the skillet. I'm going to add 2 diced bell peppers and 1 diced onion to the skillet so that they can cook a little before I place them in the crock pot. I'm going to pour all of that meat and vegetable mixture into the crock pot. I'm going to add 1 cup of beef broth and 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to mix everything together, put the lid on the crock pot, and cook it on low for about 3 or 4 hours. I made my own rolls for this recipe, but you can just use a regular hamburger bun and it will work just the same. I'm going to place a couple of scoops of the meat mixture onto the bottom of the bun, place a piece of provolone cheese on top, and everything is done and ready. Now, let's see what my family thinks about this unique twist on Sloppy Joes.
Okay, next up, Philly cheese Sloppy Joes on homemade rolls.
This is a first.
Yeah, I've never had fancy Sloppy Joes. I've only had regular.
I would give it a 10.
A 10?
It would need it everything.
I like it.
Every single day you eat it.
Okay, Daddy.
Yeah, it's good. It's got a good taste to it. I would give it 7.5.
Woo!
That's not very resounding.
Well, the scale's on eating it, every week.
Okay.
Just
You don't want
personal
it every
preference.
week, but
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
It's good.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 7.2.
What's this? What's this, Doo-doo? You got to
7.2
watch
is
this, Doo-doo.
unnecessary. You can say it.
Doo-doo, you got to watch.
I like it. I just feel like it's maybe if we add some more spices to it or something.
Okay, that's fair.
It's good, but I definitely like your normal sloppy joes better.
Maybe that's my
This
favorite.
isn't giving sloppy joes. It's giving meat on bread. Which I guess that's sloppy joes.
But
I like the
flavor.
bun on
It's
the
got
bottom.
flavor. It's not
It's
like
good, but I
meat
feel
and
like
bread.
it doesn't belong on a bun with cheese.
Okay, so what do you want to give it?
I would say maybe probably like 6.8.
Okay, the consensus is this is a 7. This is not great, but it's not bad. I actually really like it, and I would give it an 8.5. I think this is a really good lunch, and I think it's a little bit more difficult to prepare because you have to cut up all of the things and you have to cook the meat first. So that makes it not as desirable to me. Like a crock pot meal to me is throw it in and it cooks it. So for that I would dock a little bit, but I think it's really good. And I think it's good on a bun, so I would say 8.
I like it.
Maybe 8.5.
A man and one me.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm a 1 or 10. I'll give a 10.
Our final recipe for this video is a slow cooker rigatoni with tomato basil meat sauce. I am going to use ground chicken for this. You can use ground beef, ground turkey, even a sausage will work fine. I'm going to brown the chicken and then I'm going to add 2 onions that I have diced up. I'm going to go ahead and cook these onions in the skillet to allow them to soften a bit and give them a little bit of a head start in the cooking process. After the meat is cooked through, I'm going to add it to the crock pot and then we're going to make our sauce. For the sauce, I'm going to add 1 large can of crushed tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a teaspoon of dried oregano, and 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm also going to sprinkle in about a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm going to mix everything together and allow this meat sauce to cook in the slow cooker all afternoon. You'll have to think a little bit ahead for this recipe, and about an hour before you're ready to serve, you need to go ahead and boil some water. And once the water is boiling, pour in your pasta. Allow it to cook tender and then place it in the crock pot with the meat sauce. Mix everything to coat the pasta very well, and then I decided to add 1 container of fresh spinach. You can leave the spinach out if you would prefer, but I just liked the added flavor and especially the nutrition that the spinach is going to add to the recipe. I'm going to allow that all to cook in the slow cooker for about 20 more minutes, and then everything is ready to go and we're ready to eat. Now, let's see what my family thought of this last slow cooker recipe of the week.
The last recipe is a pasta recipe. I'll have to remind myself of the title. It's some kind of rigatoni, something I can't say.
Can you cook this in the crock pot?
Well, I cooked the sauce in the crock pot. Then I cooked the pasta on the stovetop and then added it in. So sorta.
That's good.
Okay, Lane. You want to rate it?
I think I'll give it a half.
1/2. Okay, thank you
0.5?
for that.
All right.
So would you eat this every day or just not a lot of every day?
There's not a lot of everything.
Sassy, what do you give it?
I really like it, so I would say probably like 8.5.
Okay, that's good. Doo-doo?
I would give it a 7. I think it's very good.
Okay. Dan?
If it's very good, I thought that would be better.
Well, I
Did you
just
just eat my
it's
butter?
really good. It's just like I don't feel like it's too rememberable.
Everybody's back.
I like the taste. I mean, I'll give it a 9, 9.5. I could eat this every week.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. The taste is really good. It's a really good go-to pasta sauce. It's a little extra work. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but crock pot needs to be like dump and go to be a 10. But this is really good. It was not hard. It was easy, and it tastes really good.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is a good one. This is a good solid one. Agree?
Agree.
Thumbs
Okay.
up.
As a bonus, I'm going to add a couple of our dessert recipes. Neither one of them turned out really good, but I think it was more of an error on my part. I didn't really know how to manage this crock pot very well. My friend allowed me to borrow it so that I could have 2 crock pots going this week, and I really appreciate her sharing, but I didn't understand where the low and the high was, so it caused this apple butter dump cake to burn on the edges, which really affected the flavor. So I'm gonna say that this was an operational error on my part, and this is probably a really good dessert recipe for you to use when you want a quick and easy and marginally healthy dessert.
This is
Taste
Okay, this is our first dessert, and I think it's called apple butter cobbler. Apple butter something. I'll have to look it back up. But it was really simple, so I don't know if it's good or not, but it was easy.
I'm gonna get a naughty piece. I'm gonna make
Okay,
that.
that tasted burnt.
You can taste this too.
I can't really get past the burnt aroma of it.
Okay, it's good. It's good, but the sides are burned.
Doing that, and then they make the potatoes.
Oh, it tastes like it's got old potatoes in it.
Yeah.
It's not the recipe's fault that I overcooked it. So, just like flavor-wise, not burned. I think all of yours is burned. Here, taste a little bit of mine.
I think the flavor would be good.
It's just burnt. Okay.
It's
you
just
can't-
I'm smelling burnt and tasting a little burnt.
Okay, so you
Hold
can
your breath and think about it.
hold your nose.
The texture's good.
Okay, Lane.
Thumbs up.
Oh, yay. He can go for any kind of sugar.
I like it. I would say probably like a 7.5.
I'm
Okay, I
gonna,
got a not burnt part.
okay.
I'd say an 8.
And if it had ice cream, that would make it even better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say it's a solid 7.5, maybe 8.
Oh, I got
Like this is a nice, easy weeknight dessert, as long as you don't overcook it. So 2 hours max.
Yes.
I thought that was onion or something, and that was the.
Here
So
you
you don't have any.
I got some mommy.
Okay, good find. Okay, Daddy.
So using the scale we've been using, the taste is good. It's good. I wouldn't necessarily want it every week, but it's good. You know, maybe once a month. For me personally,
Okay, so what's your number?
6.5.
Okay, that's fair. I think I sort of damaged it a little by cooking it too long. But as far as a crock pot dessert, I mean that was a dump and go, and that's nice to have that.
He scared me to death. I thought a lamb was coming through the house.
And our final dessert recipe today is a chocolate and peanut butter lava cake. I think, again, we had some operational failures that led to this not exactly turning out like it should have. But the cake part of this recipe really did turn out good. So if you can just take the recipe down in the description box and leave out the peanut butter, I think that this is a really good, quick and easy cake recipe that you can add maybe some fresh fruit and some whipped cream, or even sprinkle a little bit of powdered sugar on the top and have a quick and easy chocolate cake ready to serve in just a little bit of time with no extra prep work or a lot of cleanup. I think it is a good solid chocolate cake recipe, but in my humble opinion, the peanut butter needs to be left out. I'm going to leave you with this final taste test of just me and a couple of the kids. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I would love for you to leave your feedback down below in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this type of video and this format. I hope that this was a helpful video for you. I hope it helped you a little bit in creating a brand new meal plan for your family, and I hope that you will give all of these recipes a try. Thanks for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I love you, and I will see you again next time.
I finished already born.
You're what? Again? Burned again?
Yeah.
I just don't know. What do you think?
I don't like the peanut butter.
What do you think about the cake?
So, it's not bad.
Maybe I yet again cooked it too long.
You could.
It tastes like a good cake though. Without the peanut butter, it would be much better.